If I go away and I come back and I look different, that is not me.
You heard that right. One of the most controversial voices Hollywood has ever tried to silence finally broke down in tears while talking about something most people still think is impossible. For years, people laughed whenever the topic of celebrity cloning came up. It sounded like something pulled straight from a science fiction movie, a wild internet rumor, a conspiracy meant for late-night forums and YouTube comment sections.
I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying.
But then something happened. Mel Gibson, the same Mel Gibson who dominated Hollywood for decades, sat down and started talking about things he had apparently kept buried for years. And this time, he didn't sound angry. He didn't sound defensive. He sounded emotional. At one point during the conversation, his voice cracked. He paused, and then he said something that made everyone in the room go completely silent. According to him, the biggest secret in Hollywood isn't just scandals, blackmail, or corruption. It's replacement. Replacement of celebrities who become too dangerous to the system. And when Mel Gibson started connecting the dots between Jimmy Carrey, Jamie Foxx, and a pattern inside the entertainment industry, the story became even darker than anyone expected.
What does the evil side want?
Oh, it wants you. It wants you.
Because if what he's saying is even partially true, then Hollywood might not be what we think it is at all. And to understand why Mel Gibson would risk everything to talk about this, we have to go back to the beginning, long before the controversy, long before the rumors, back when Mel Gibson was untouchable. In the 1990s and early 2000s, Mel Gibson wasn't just another actor, he was one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood. Movies like Braveheart, Lethal Weapon, and The Passion of the Christ made him a global icon. Directors respected him, studios trusted him, fans adored him. He wasn't just famous, he had influence.
I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to.
And with influence comes access. Access to the private dinners, the high-level meetings, the industry parties where the real conversations happen, the kind of rooms where deals are made quietly, far away from cameras. For years, Mel Gibson moved comfortably in those spaces. But something changed. In 2006, everything suddenly collapsed around him. A single incident during a traffic stop in Malibu triggered a wave of backlash so intense that it almost erased his career overnight. Studios stopped calling, major projects disappeared, Hollywood turned its back on him with shocking speed.
Human sacrifice aspect is alive and well in our society, I think.
It really is. It's just dressed up in a different way.
At the time, the media framed it as a fall from grace, a talented actor whose personal issues finally caught up with him. But according to Gibson, that explanation never made sense, because what happened next felt different. He didn't just lose roles, he lost access. Doors that had been open for decades suddenly slammed shut. People who once supported him stopped answering calls. Invitations disappeared.
It's a wonderful feeling. I really took on a pretty big challenge trying to do my speech in French.
And the speed of it all raised a question he says he could never shake. Why did the entire industry move in perfect unison? Hollywood rarely agrees on anything, yet in his case, the reaction was immediate, coordinated, and complete. For years, Gibson stayed mostly quiet. He worked on smaller projects, stayed out of the spotlight, and avoided long interviews. But privately, he was watching.
There is no me.
There's no you.
Watching the same industry that pushed him out, watching the behavior of other celebrities. And slowly, he started noticing a pattern, a strange one. actors and musicians who suddenly disappeared from public view for months at a time, only to return looking slightly different. Different energy, different personality, different behavior.
We're not here. This is a...
Yeah, if they're telling you that there's no clones, the guy telling you...
At first, Gibson dismissed the thought. After all, people change. Fame changes people. Trauma changes people.
Clone. They've made human clones. They made dog clones. You can get your dog cloned. If your dog's gonna die, you can get the DNA from your dog, get a puppy, and it'll be eerily similar to your dog. They think including...
But then he started hearing whispers from people still inside the industry. Stories about celebrities who had spoken too loudly about corruption, suddenly being replaced by calmer, more obedient versions of themselves. Stories about technology far more advanced than the public knows about.
Personality traits.
Like, we're gonna take your money, we're gonna block you, we're gonna do this, we're gonna take your life. Like, a lot of, my life has been through, I wake up every day just...
And stories about laboratories funded by people with more money than governments. For years, Gibson kept those thoughts to himself until he began noticing something that made it impossible to ignore. Jim Carrey. For decades,
tries to be alive.
If I go away and I come back and I look different, that is not me.
If I ever win it...
Jim Carrey was known as one of the most energetic personalities in Hollywood. His interviews were unpredictable. His humor was wild. But behind the comedy was a man who had increasingly started questioning the entertainment industry itself. He spoke openly about the illusion of fame. He criticized the culture of celebrity worship. At one point, he even stood on a red carpet and told reporters that nothing here is real. People laughed.
Well, we know why.
I would rather be dead, not in jail, because I'd rather be dead.
But then something strange happened. Jim Carrey gradually disappeared from the spotlight. Interviews became rare. Public appearances slowed down dramatically. And when he finally resurfaced at a European awards ceremony years later, fans noticed something odd. His face looked younger but different. His energy felt calmer, almost rehearsed. Even longtime supporters started debating online whether something about him had changed.
Be on medication. Hey, Fox ain't shit. That nigga gonna make you watch his funeral. Nigga televised his funeral.
Most people dismissed those discussions as internet nonsense, but according to Mel Gibson, that moment caught his attention because Jim Carrey wasn't the only one. Another name soon joined the conversation, Jamie Foxx. When Jamie Foxx suffered a mysterious medical emergency in 2023, the public received almost no clear explanation about what had happened. His family released short statements saying he was recovering, but details remained vague. Months passed without any public appearance. Fans grew worried. Then suddenly, Jamie Foxx returned, smiling, joking, acting like everything was normal. And yet, some fans insisted something about him seemed slightly off. The voice was the same, the smile was the same, but the energy felt different. Mel Gibson says that was the moment he stopped dismissing the rumors, because now the pattern was too obvious to ignore. Powerful celebrities, sudden disappearance, mysterious return, and a completely different attitude toward the industry afterward. But here's the twist nobody expected. When Gibson recently spoke about this publicly, he didn't sound confident or triumphant. He sounded emotional. At one point, according to people present during the conversation, he paused mid-sentence and wiped his eyes.
Stupid as hell.
Can't clone this. I brought you too much original. It ain't enough clone juice in the world.
Because for him, this wasn't just a theory. It was something he believed he had watched unfold from the inside. He described a system where powerful figures control not only careers, but identities. A system designed to protect itself at all costs. And in that system, when a celebrity becomes too unpredictable, too outspoken, too dangerous, they don't always destroy them publicly. Sometimes they simply replace them. Now, whether people believe that idea or not, one thing is certain. The emotional toll of these accusations has been enormous. For Mel Gibson, speaking about this means risking the little relationship he still has with the industry. Many people already see him as controversial. Talking about something this extreme only invites more criticism. But according to those who heard him speak, he didn't seem concerned about that anymore. Instead, he seemed tired of staying quiet, tired of watching what he believes are disturbing patterns unfold without anyone asking deeper questions. He talked about the loneliness of being pushed out of the industry he once loved, about the feeling that powerful forces control narratives behind the scenes, and about the fear that some celebrities may not even realize the pressure they're under until it's too late. For viewers listening to his story, the emotional impact was impossible to ignore. Because whether someone believes the cloning claims, the bigger issue he raised is something many people already suspect. Hollywood is an industry built on image. Image can be shaped, image can be protected, and sometimes image can hide things happening far away from public view. When the conversation finally ended, Gibson reportedly sat quietly for a moment before saying something that stuck with everyone listening. He said the public doesn't need to believe every theory, but they should start asking more questions. Questions about why certain celebrities suddenly vanish. Questions about why the industry reacts so aggressively when someone steps out of line. And questions about how much control powerful institutions really have over the people we see on our screens every day. Because if even a small part of this story is true, then the world of fame and entertainment might be far more complicated than fans ever imagined. Mel Gibson spent decades as one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Then he spent years being treated like an outsider. Now he's speaking again, and whether people believe him or not, one thing is undeniable. The conversation he started isn't going away anytime soon, because the more people look at the timeline, the disappearances, the strange returns, the harder it becomes not to wonder, what's really happening behind the scenes in Hollywood? And if someone like Mel Gibson is finally willing to speak about it, who else might eventually do the same?